did you do to your face?
Oh, I woke up with this, like, pretty gnarly pimple. And I didn't know how to cover it up, so I just wore a Band-Aid. For the review, though, ask me again, and I'll make up something like I was in a fight.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'll make sure to cut this part out.
All right.
So ask me that again.
Hey, Tony, what happened to your face?
Oh, man, got in a big fight last night. Yeah, rough fight. With Kieran, I won. So, Newt, we're back here.
We're back.
At Hack the Movies Video. Original.
Yes.
Very original. Mm-hmm. Do not steal. We're here to talk about the Addams Family from 1991.
Yes, I love this movie.
So do I.
Yeah.
Now, a little bit of an issue. I used to have the McDonald's exclusive tape for this.
So, point of reference for people. At one point, McDonald's was like the #1 distributor of VHS tapes.
Yes.
Like, I have mine. I have my Fievel Goes West from there.
Right. They did like Ghost in a couple of them.
Raiders of the Lost Ark I got from there.
Right.
Yeah.
And I remember it was the first time I remember actually getting the tape because I thought it was so weird that it was coming from McDonald's.
Yeah.
So I used to own the tape. No idea what happened to it.
Yeah.
I have a lot of my VHS tapes. Some of these are my dead grandfather's, but a lot of them are also mine. But I don't have Addams Family anymore, so I went on eBay and I looked up the McDonald's exclusive tape, and I got the regular version. I was robbed. I posted about that, and people were like, you gotta go after the guy who did this. I'm like, I don't care that much.
Just go after the McDonald's Corporation in general.
Yeah. We have 184 sensational titles at Own Me prices.
Ooh.
Before we get into this, we gotta see what we can get here.
It's like an unboxing review.
Oh man, there's a lot of good ones. Fatal Attraction, Beverly Hills Cop, The Hunt for Red October, Ghost, An Officer and Gentleman, which I have on Betamax over there somewhere. Oh, it's right there, right in front of you.
Oh.
Yeah. Sorry, I already have it on Betamax.
Well, you are a beta.
Yeah, a bunch of classics here. And the Addams Family. So yeah, McDonald's release tapes. Very weird thing looking back.
Yeah.
I'm very upset I didn't get the McDonald's tape, but what I remember from it, and I found it on YouTube, so I'll show some clips.
Oh, I know exactly what you're going to talk about.
So it cuts to the Enterprise from the Next Generation set, and then the door opens up, and in walks alleged sex offender George Takei.
Alleged sex offender George Takei.
And that was the first time I ever heard about alleged sex offender George Takei. And he walks in, he's like...
Allegedly.
Yeah, he walks in, he's like, hello, I'm future alleged sex offender George Takei.
I thought it was weird that he prognosticated it like that.
Yeah. You know what's also weird? Going on the Howard Stern show and bragging about how you're a little too forward with young gentlemen and then saying it was all a joke when you get called out on it later.
Oh
anyway,
my.
Alleged sex offender George Takei comes in. He's like, I have all these great deals from McDonald's, just promoting obesity. Because George Takei doesn't care about childhood obesity. No. So he's like, hey guys, buy this food that is very bad for your kids and buy these movies.
Or I'm going to touch somebody.
So that's where George Takei was in the early 90s.
90, 91, yeah.
Yeah, that's where he was. He was hawking McDonald's tapes when he wasn't allegedly sex offending people. Anyway, so the Addams Family.
The Addams Family.
This is started off as a comic strip.
Yep, Charles Addams, the New Yorker, yep.
Because they didn't even, it wasn't like they were called the Addams.
Yeah, they were called Homebodies.
Yeah, but they were like his family that he made.
It was supposed to be like they're a stable, happy American family in the 1950s, kind of.
Yeah.
But they're like macabre.
Yeah, they're weird. And it got turned into a TV show. And that's where a lot of the stuff we know about the Addams Family comes from, is the TV show. So, like, their names.
Yeah, they didn't have names until
I think Fester might not have even been part of the family.
He was the uncle who would just be around sometimes.
Yeah, well, I mean, in the comic strip, I think there was, like, only a few where he's with the family, so it's implied he might not even be part of it.
Just a bald weirdo who hangs out there.
Yeah, so they made the TV show, and growing up, I think I liked Munsters more.
Yeah, there was always the question of like, are you a Munsters kid or an Addams Family kid? Because I'm 38 years old. So I remember when there wasn't a lot of channels, so it was always on. So it's it was one of those things. So I grew to love both of them, but I think I had more fun because I didn't get all the jokes with the Munsters. Because you look back on the Addams Family now and you're like, oh, there was some really subversive stuff in there.
I've rewatched the show now and I love it.
Yeah.
The only issue with the show is like it's clearly not meant for binging because they recycle shots.
Yeah.
Like They recycle straight up gags because they assume you didn't see the previous episode.
Yeah, they're like TV's never. It's all one time. That's it.
But yeah, the Addams Family, it's so unique because like they're not monsters.
No, they're not vampires. They're not ghouls.
No,
they're just...
the closest you get is Lurch is kind of a zombie.
Sorta.
And the grandmother is kind of a witch.
Yeah.
But not like really.
I always just thought like they're European.
Yeah. I think the best way to describe them is that they're creepy and they're kooky.
Yeah, they're kind of mysterious.
And spooky.
Altogether ooky.
The Addams Family. So we went into like the backstory of this movie. So this was like the reboot in the 90s. So I forgot to mention when I did Mission Impossible, the 90s were all about rebooting old TV shows.
This is the one that kind of kicked it off because after this was successful, you know, it paves the way for, you know, Wild Wild West, which was also directed by Barry Sonnenfeld.
Beverly Hills Hillbillies.
Charlie's Angels.
Yes. Well, they kind of haven't stopped. Like, Chips came out a few years ago.
I know,
like,
but...
the trend never stopped. It definitely slowed down, but it was big in the 90s for a bit.
But this one seems like such a no-brainer to convert from TV because it's not about the storyline, and that's kind of my biggest problem with the movie is I just like these characters.
Yeah.
And I thought the casting of this movie was so spot on that it was like I believe Angelica Huston and Raul Julia's sexual chemistry in the movie, but I also believe the chemistry on the TV show because it was like that. And, you know, there's only one person still alive from that original cast.
John Aston.
John Aston.
Well, I mean, I think one of the kids, I think the kids might be alive.
I think they're both dead. If they're wrong, I apologize.
I think Wednesday's still alive.
Because you're probably watching this episode of Hack the Movies.
But yeah, John Aston's still alive. What I didn't realize... Apparently he's the adoptive father, but he's Sean Astin's father.
Exactly, yeah. So,
but yeah, so apparently Tim Burton was going to direct
originally it was going to be a Tim Burton movie because it's funny. I used to get Starlog, like when Batman came out.
We have Starlog magazines up there somewhere.
So in '89, when Batman came out for a birthday, somebody gave me a subscription to Starlog, and they said, "Oh, there's going to be a Addams Family movie directed by Tim Burton and written by the guy who wrote Beetlejuice." And I'm like, "This is amazing!"
Yeah.
So I was really excited about that. And the movie was directed by Barry Sonnenfeld. You probably know him from 9 Lives, the Kevin Spacey movie with non-alleged sex offender Kevin Spacey.
Yeah, he admitted to it.
Yeah.
I don't know why he did. I mean, I just like. I don't know why he admitted.
Now I feel bad for everyone on the set of Superman Returns because it was like Bryan Singer, Kevin Spacey, and they're like, somebody's getting touched. Might be you, Brandon Routh.
Anyway, 9 Lives. Men in Black.
Men in Black is probably what most people know him for.
Yeah.
And this was the first movie that he had ever directed.
Yes, he was a cinematographer for Harry Met Sally and a bunch of other movies.
Yeah, he worked with the Coen brothers a lot. Yeah. But it's kind of funny. I was reading up on how this movie came to be, and it was the whoever ran the studio of Paramount, or Ryan at the time, was like driving back from a screening, and they got stuck in California traffic. And one guy in the back of the van, who was some big executive, started humming the Addams Family theme, and everybody joined in and did the click. And he got back to the studio. I was like, "We're making an Addams Family movie," and then they did. But so Orion had the rights with Paramount. Orion went belly up while the movie was being made. Yeah. They had all kinds of script problems, which is crazy because like this is a really good script.
Yeah, it's a really good movie. It doesn't seem like they're like looking at it. You can usually tell if a movie is a shit show.
Yeah, like Justice League.
League. Like, I like Alien 3, the assembly cut. Yeah. But the theatrical cut, you look at it and you're like, there was a lot of stuff going wrong here.
Yeah, exactly. But this seems
Rise
like...
of Skywalker is another one.
Oh, God. So they cast all these actors, and they put this whole thing together. And, like, everybody has good chemistry together, and there's just so many one-liners of the things that are thrown away. Like, a throwaway line by Raul Julia is so brilliant, because he plays it like a swashbuckling Latin lover. Yeah. And Angelica Huston is kind of the cold, reserved.
I think they were at least in the TV show, the one episode I watched recently, it mentioned they have, like, Spanish origins, but, like, Gomez in this version is just Puerto Rican because he can't drop the accent.
Exactly.
But it works. It works so well.
But it's like, but his genes, he's so powerful, but his genes mean nothing because Morticia's just overbearing.
Yeah. Like, you look at Wednesday and Pugsley, and you're like, these kids don't have an ounce of Puerto Rican.
Nope. But it was our introduction to Christina Ricci.
Who, in our age group, I mean, probably more for you, but even for me, that's like every person in our age group's like first goth girl crush.
Yeah, well, it's funny too, because I look back when I was watching this, I was like, man, I had such a thing for Angelica Huston in this movie, but I also had a thing for, for Lily Munster, and then, like, at the time when I was a kid, MTV used to show all these commercials, because when Elvira first went, like, national, she was in, like, wine cooler commercials and stuff, or, like, commercials with Spuds McKenzie. Look up that one, kids. And I think that's kind of where my swaying towards goth women kind of came from. So
it's a lot of people's introduction. Then you get to The Craft, which introduced more people.
Oh yeah.
So before we get further into it, so a guy sued this movie.
Yes.
So as we said, a lot of what we know of the Addams Family comes from the TV show, and it says here David Levy sued Paramount.
Yeah.
Because I guess they were using a lot of stuff from the show, not from the comics.
The trains and the names.
Exactly, the trains. I don't think they're from the comics.
No.
So I can see why that was an issue, but they settled out of court, I guess. Because that's kind of a hard one to defend. There's like, oh shit, yeah, you're right.
But I mean, it's like when comic book people, like, they create something. You create it for the company. You know, it's not like you don't own that, so it's one of those things. But yeah, they settled it out of court, and I remember when the movie was like out, there was controversy about that. Yeah. But I was a kid, it was like 1991. Yeah. I really wasn't.
The show changed, the movie changes some of the characters. Fester is now Gomez's brother.
Instead of Morticia's uncle.
Yes, and then Grandma is now Morticia's mom instead of Grandma Frump or whatever. Yeah. And, who on the TV show was the witch from Wizard of Oz.
Yes, yep.
Yeah. So Grandma is now Morticia's mother.
But I think that they work. I don't think that there's any, like, obviously
not that like the continuity was that
no, but even like I can see like nowadays people getting mad about that because the internet just needs things to be mad about. But I think it works perfectly with the storyline that they were telling,
And I think they've kept that kind of going. I think Fester and more modern versions his brother,
because they did the animated movie last year, which kind of has a very similar continuity. And the animated movie was great. I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought it was
pretty good. The play apparently with Nathan Lane.
Yeah.
Apparently there's a line where Gomez and Morticia can't figure out whose mom it is. Like they're like, hey, I thought it was your mother, and like they were like, oh, they forgot which one their mother was.
They're just a happy family.
We have some notes here. Wednesday is named after a Mother Goose poem, you said.
Yep, Wednesday is a child full of woe, I think it was.
Yeah. This is funny. You said Cher was going to be Morticia, and Cher played Christina Ricci's mother in Mermaids.
Yep.
Yes, Winona Ryder.
Yeah.
That would have been pretty good.
Cher lobbied really hard for the part. I remember they offered the part of Uncle Fester to Anthony Hopkins after playing Hannibal Lecter, and he was like, no.
Oh, that would have been good.
Yeah, Olivia Hussey from
modern Anthony Hopkins would have done.
Yes,
he'll be in Transformers 5.
Whatever they're up to.
He'll be in anything.
The moment that Sir Anthony Hopkins says Optimus Prime in a movie is when I knew that cinema was officially dead. But we went back to Tony was like, hey, let's watch The Addams Family, and I watch it every so often, every few years, but I rewatch it, and the one thing I picked up that I'd never seen before. The opening of the movie has the Christmas Carolers.
Yeah.
First off, my question is, if they're Gates alive, how did the Christmas Carolers get up there? And why are they facing away from the house?
Well, they're in a circle, I think, because the camera pans around. Yeah. So they're just standing in a circle.
Does that seem like the kind of house that you want to go carol to?
No, not at all.
So the Addams Family is up on the bell tower, whatever, the bat tower, whatever. Yeah. And they pour scalding hot tar on the people, which is out of the comic.
Straight from the comics.
But I never noticed before that tar is there for the rest of the movie. Which means, like, they killed a bunch of people.
Or it splashed on them.
I don't know. On them, whatever.
But yeah, it's there the entire movie. I forgot when I watched the second one to make a note if it was still there.
Oh, I didn't. But yeah, but I was watching it and there's all these scenes. I was like, oh, the tar is still there. That's a fun little thing, you know?
I don't think I have it in my notes, but I read that, like, people almost didn't use the Addams Family theme. Like, because they wanted to, like, do, like, a straight-up thing. But I think they used it from the trailer, and everyone loved it so much. They're like, we gotta work it in.
Yeah, because it's only in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Just like in the second one, Lurch is playing it in the very beginning, and that's all you really need.
The theme does work into the rest of the movie. It's just changed a lot.
But it's handled properly, and then you have something like how Rob Zombie used the Halloween theme.
Yeah.
And you just go, oh, okay, one person gets it. One person doesn't. That other person is Rob Zombie.
Yeah. They don't do the lyrics, though.
No, exactly.
The first big effect is Thing.
Yes.
And I'm looking at it, and, like, I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, how would I do this effect now? And I could probably pull off the effect decently.
Yeah.
But it would be hard now. I don't know how fucking hard it was back then.
Yeah.
Like, back then it must, because it's not CGI, it's like an actual, like, I'm assuming the guy wore
There's only really one scene where it doesn't look good. Yeah. And it's towards the end when he's doing the Morse code. You could tell
you could tell. I mean, they do, like, it's not all composite. There are, like, animatronic ones, and there's other stuff. But, like, it looks so good.
No, I mean, it still does. And there's, like, that's the one thing about this movie. The set design is amazing. You know, like, the way that this film is set, the house and everything that they live in is great. And then everybody works into that environment in a way where they doesn't stick out. Yeah. You know, which I thought was really cool.
And then we meet Morticia for the first time. And I never, ever noticed it until watching it last night in HD widescreen. Yeah. I know I have the tape here, but I watched it in HD widescreen.
I watched it on Amazon at work, so I was wasting company hours.
I never realized her plant, Cleopatra, is right next to her bed.
Yeah, because it goes like
and it goes like, ah!
When the sun comes in.
I know, because in the show, it was a bigger plant.
Yeah.
But she had a plant called Cleopatra, and I'm like, oh my god, there it is. I never noticed it. Yep. I'll check. Maybe it was cropped out of the VHS version. Maybe that's why I never noticed it. It might have been.
Yeah. But that's where you introduce the Morticia and Gomez. And it's just like the first line, he's like, I'd kill for her, I'd die for her, I'd kill for her.
Look at her. I would die for her. I would kill for her. Either way, what bliss?
The Addams Family in the show, they started doing this, like sitcom parents were, like, oddly sexless.
Yeah.
Because I guess they didn't want to offend, like, they never, like, I don't think they ever kissed on the mouth in the show.
No.
But, like, it was very, very evident that Morticia and Gomez were fucking constantly.
Oh, 100. I'm amazed they only had 2 kids. Yeah. Like, well, 3 by the end. But no, and
that carries over into this version. Like, they are so fucking in love with each other.
And that's great, but it's just like, that's the thing I always liked about the Addams Family so much, is they, like, Addams Family and the Munsters were the first TV family I remember sleeping in the same bed.
Yeah.
Which is great because they're like, they're the ones that are the weirdos. Yeah. But it's not really.
I think Lucy from I Love Lucy, they slept in the same bed. But they didn't have.
They ever showed them?
They didn't have kids though.
Yeah.
I think that was
before Little Ricky. They pushed the twin beds together. But yeah, that was the thing about it that always struck me as a kid, why I wanted to be an Addams. Because it was like, their parents were like super in love with each other.
Yeah.
To like an insane degree. And they were so proud and like interested in what their kids were doing that it was so different than how I grew up that I was like, I kind of wish I was an Addams, you know? Oh, that's sad. That was like a moment I could have shared with my therapist.
They don't let Lurch talk in this version.
Yeah.
He doesn't do his famous "you rang."
It's in this song though. It's in the Addams Family, the MC Hammer song.
There's a lot. Add that. All right, so this has like a Batman Prince thing going on with it. Not as blatant
more
as Batman.
Heavy hand. Well, I don't know, because at least with Batman they work it in a little bit more.
Yeah.
In this, it's just like the song is playing. Too Legit is playing inside Cousin It's car, and then Lurch is just walking with a boombox with an MC Hammer song. MC Hammer was a rapper kid from the early 90s.
They do what they want to do, say what they want to say, live how they want to live, play how they want to play, dance how they want to dance, kicking the slap-a-friend, the Addams Family.
We get to see the judge who lives next door. That's a setup for later. Very cleverly set up.
Yes.
It plays off so perfectly.
He's just hitting golf balls.
Yeah.
And when I was a kid, and I don't know why this was, that cereal hitting his face like made me feel ill. Like, I just remember, like, anytime I think of like milk spilling, I think of that scene, and it did something to me on a like cosmic level.
Yeah. You get a cameo by Bruno, I believe his name is, which is the polar bear. And you hear Kitty, the lion.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
I guess they were like, all right, we don't have in the budget for a lion. So, like, when Gomez is behind the vault, you hear him fighting Kitty. So in this version, the biggest change in this version is Fester's been missing for 25 years.
Yeah.
He got into a fight with Gomez, disappeared in the Bermuda Triangle. Tully is their accountant.
Yes.
And he owes a bunch of people money and whatnot. So he comes up with this plan. This girl he owns money has a son, Gordon, who looks exactly like Fester.
Yeah. But they never put 2 and 2 together until that night.
Yeah,
you know?
Fester is the most different, but there's a story reason for it, because it's not supposed to be Fester. Because watching the old TV show and everything, Fester is a very different character.
Oh, yeah.
He's got a high-pitched voice, like...
And he was played by Jackie Coogan on the TV show, and Jackie Coogan was probably one of the most famous child actors of all time. He worked with Charlie Chaplin. He was like the first person to like emancipate his parents because they took all his money. So he was in like Women of the Lost Mesa, which is like one of the worst movies ever made. But so he went on and he did the TV show. Also, fun fact, when the show got canceled, they came back as a cartoon with a lot of the original cast. Who was the voice of Pugsley?
Jodie Foster.
Jodie Foster.
Young Jodie Foster
was the voice of Pugsley, which somebody told me that like in the 90s, and I was like, that's not true. Yeah. And we didn't really have like IMDb then, so I had to like look it up, and it was like being in one of those movies where I'm like in a library, like searching, you know.
I have it written here. The dialogue and gags are so good. I have since a kid. I've loved the Uncle Knick-Knack thing.
Uncle Knick-Knack's winter wardrobe. Uncle Knick-Knack's summer wardrobe. Uncle Knick-Knack.
They're donating to the orphans because they need more.
Orphans and widows. Because we need more orphans and widows.
Like they don't understand it's to help them. They think it's to make more orphans. So they have a seance. Gordon Fester shows up, and then his mother Abigail does this awesome fake voice as Dr. Pinderschloss. And I've always loved the voice, and it actually. She sounds exactly like my landlord. I have a very old German landlord.
Love, hate.
They say, lo and behold, oh my, God tell it on the mountains. He is your brother. You suspect things. You love him, but you resent him. Love, hate, love. Like for Mama, no?
I like how Wednesday is the first one to catch on to Uncle Fester. Like, she knows there's something up.
What's fun about them, too, is very different from the TV show, is the boy and the girl are basically mirror images of their parents.
Yes.
You know, Wednesday is more like Morticia, Pugsley is more like Gomez. You know, and I thought that was a cool little character.
I like when they flash back to when they show young Fester in the picture. He's wearing a shirt that Pugs. So they dressed like Pugsley when they were kids.
Also, the fun thing I didn't realize until I rewatched it the other day is there's an Alcatraz pennant.
Yeah, I saw that too last night. I'm like, oh wait, did he go to Alcatraz? Was that like a proud thing of him? So Wednesday, I think they changed their ages, right? Wednesday's the older one in this version.
Yeah, because it was reversed in the show.
She's definitely like the standout in this.
You could tell from like her as a child actor that she was going to go on to do more stuff, you know?
So she's really, really good in this. She's on to him right from the start. Okay. Gomez takes Fester to the vault. And they go down that slide. What the fuck is that song? It's so out of place. I don't know where it came from.
Even the camera work in that, like when you see it, like Fester's in the front, then Fester's behind him. And it's there's so many scenes in this that are like living cartoons almost the way it's cut. Especially because like they have books in their library when they open up, like stuff comes out of them.
I love that little design.
But it's like, that song always stuck out to me because I was shaving last night and I was singing that song and my cat was looking at me like, what's wrong?
There's like fart sounds. I'm like, what is it? And then it disappears. And you're like, what the hell? The vault looks great. The vault looks great. And I love how in this version they're watching the film reel. And Fester apparently was the ladies' man.
Yeah, but he's this bald, dark-circled weirdo.
And so the fight between Gomez and Fester was they were in love with Siamese twins.
Flora and Fauna.
And Gomez was so jealous of Fester because he was such a ladies' man that he stole the twins from him, which led to him leaving the Bermuda Triangle. But I love, like, The vault just looks awesome.
Because it's like the river Styx kind of thing.
Yeah. So yeah, in this version, I guess they just have old money. Because it's not really clear what
in the
Addams
show,
do.
he was a lawyer.
And he also, he did many things in the show. I think he was in real estate and stocks, because he was constantly checking the stocks.
Yeah.
And this one, I just think it's just
They're
old
just
money.
weird old money, yeah. And his grandma and grandpa Addams were like chased by an angry mob and killed.
Fester doesn't know how to take the thing off.
Yeah, the finger
trap,
cuffs,
which they donate to the orphanage, and then they buy it back
while also like having sex in front of like elderly people and children.
So that's what finally gets Gomez to be like, all right, I doubt him, and he plays with his train, which is a great nod.
And Barry Sonnenfeld is the guy on the train when it goes by.
It's just a little guy on the train.
So when he doubts Gomez and the doctor has to come in and like they're having the conversation and
displacement.
But he's like, is it unpleasant? Terribly. And he sits down and he's all interested.
I love when she's like the little black monster and he goes, Pugsley.
But just the way that they deliver those lines is so brilliant because it's so matter of fact, you know, because I could see like a different actor would like go over the top with it, but this is so second nature to them.
Yeah.
So rewatching this movie, like I had like some serious belly laugh. There's like a lot of jokes like, you know, like what do we say now? Or when she's going with the butcher knife and she's like, is that for your brother?
I don't think so. She gives her like so Fester starts to like bond with the kids. He's teaching them how to use dynamite and stuff. Like the old Fester is coming out of him. I love when they go to the school. In this version, the kids go to school. And you couldn't do a movie today where a teacher says a kid brought in the president as
their hero.
It would not fly today. No matter who's president, it would not fly today. I love Morticia's like, have you spoken to their
she brought in one about Jane Pauley and she's like, but she's concerned for that child. Have you spoken to her child? And then it was Aunt Capernia. Was it?
Yeah. She was burned at the stake, blah, blah, and she's like, I told Wednesday college
Not
first.
till college. She rode naked through the town on horseback and bewitched a reverend. So, like, they just have a history of destroying normal people's lives.
I love, well, first off, Tully and his wife have a son. Who's the kid from Jurassic Park.
But that kid, like, he was in Nightmare on Elm Street 5. He was Walter on Full House.
Okay.
Yeah.
The last thing I saw him in was an episode of Glee.
Oh, okay.
He's a dance teacher in Glee. And I have a funny story about him, but I can't tell it on camera. I'll tell you off camera.
No, he'll tell me off camera.
So I love when the Addams have to endure normal things like a kid's play, and they look so miserable.
Exactly. Because even when Fester shows up late to the thing, he's like, and they're all just like, ugh.
Well, that's the thing. Fester, like, Gordon, starts to really care about the family, and he abandons his mom because they're going to look for the vault, and she gets attacked by weeds.
Exactly. And she's left there, like, overnight. But so they sing Getting to Know You.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is funny. So my cousin Gina she's probably, like, early 30s now.
Okay.
But when she was in elementary school, I was in middle school and we had to go to their school and like read them stories. Okay. And my cousin was like mortified that her older cousin was coming there, but they put on a show for us and they sang that song. And every time I think of this movie, I'm just like, oh shit, it's from Addams Family. And I felt the same way as Gomez. Like,
and then this was the coolest scene when I was a kid.
Yes.
When they do, what play are they doing? It was Shakespeare.
They're doing something from Shakespeare. I don't remember what it was.
Richard III or something?
Something like that. Yeah, I think it was Richard III.
Yeah.
So you can dub our voices if we're wrong.
Yeah. The blood, like, I guess because it's fake, it was allowed in a PG-13 movie, but as a kid, I'm like, that is one of the most violent things I've ever seen. They're just
hacking. It was like going to a gory Gallagher show.
Yeah,
like
onto the judge's face.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, did you say Gallagher?
Yes.
I have a present for you.
Oh, no.
Hold on. Would you like Gallagher's autograph?
I would prefer Gallagher's brother, who does the exact same show, and Gallagher had to sue his brother. Oh my God!
It's got a certificate of authenticity.
Why do you have that?
Don't ask. I'm just glad I remembered it was below you.
Oh no! But yeah, so they're slashing throats, they're cutting off arms, and it's just spraying blood everywhere. And when I was a kid, I thought that was like the coolest thing.
And that might have So when I was a kid, I was in a talent show.
Yeah.
And I decided to sing. Now I know what you're thinking, Newt. Tony, you've never told me how talented you are singing. The answer is I'm not.
No.
I think I was inspired by Tom Green and this movie to just horrify. I sang as bad as I could. I did 2 talent shows, and the school asked me not to do a third one.
Well, you were 30 when you did the second one.
What you call it? Dr. Plinderschlausch is like, oh, Fester needs to leave.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, let's have...
Because he has unfinished business in the Bermuda Triangle.
Right.
Yeah, which is where she found him tangled up in a fisherman's net.
Yeah.
So it's like, what was he doing in the water?
So they decide to have an Addams Family reunion, and it's great, unlike the movie Addams Family Reunion.
Yeah. And as much as I love Tim Curry, man, he was not the right person. Him and Daryl Hannah.
They might have been the right people in a different... But it was... I'd never seen Addams Family Reunion, but I watched the TV show made by the same people that's kind of in the same spirit.
When
it was
I was
not
waiting,
that good.
yeah, when I was waiting for you to get here to hack the movie's video.
Yes.
I was watching clips of that on YouTube, and I was just like, ooh.
Yeah, it wasn't great. It wasn't
missed
great.
the mark.
All the family looks great. The effects are great.
I love the dude with like the Winthrop Henry mustache, and then the guy's playing the flute,
and it's like a snake.
Yeah.
I love Lumpy Adams.
Lumpy
him dancing
Adams,
with Wednesdays.
flipping her all over the place. And then I just knew that guy was the usher at the movie theater in Ed Wood for the premiere of Bride of the Monster, because Ed Wood's my favorite movie of all time.
And then Cousin It shows up. And this version, Cousin It just loves to cuck guys, I guess.
He cucks Tully's wife.
Right away.
Yeah, and
it's
Deep Roy in the costume.
It is. I didn't even bother to look up.
It's Deep Roy.
That makes sense.
Because I watched the behind the scenes thing, and I was like, oh, he's been around for a long time.
They changed his voice to sound more like... Yeah, what's that guy from the Muppets?
Beaker, yeah.
Beaker, yeah, because in the show, I was watching the show, and it's just some audio effect where it's like, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But no, he sounds like Beaker, and I love he just makes a beeline for Margaret.
He gets out of his little car that's playing MC Hammer music,
of course.
and then he just makes a beeline for Tully's wife, Margaret.
And then it's working!
Yeah.
She's like falling off. Anyway, so plot, Wednesday finds out that Fester isn't Fester, she runs away, everyone's looking for her, and that's a fun scene where, like, Thing is in the swamp. I like how you check out the bottomless pit, I'll check the abyss.
Yeah, but I like how they open up like the thing like a turkey would be under, and Pugsley's asleep in it. Like,
oh, but before that, there's the mamushka.
The mamushka.
Mamushka! Mamushka! He comes with mamushka!
I love the mamushka.
Yes.
It's probably my favorite part of these whole movies.
It's this weird song and dance number.
From their Cossack brothers.
And
they sing it for Jack the Ripper. They sing it for all these horrible
this
people.
one's for you.
Apparently it was a lot longer.
Yeah, they had to cut it down, but it was the same thing.
Yeah.
Script and budget problems for this movie.
Yeah.
They had to keep truncating things more and more. But like, he's juggling knives, and he throws the knife in the air, and Fester catches it in his mouth.
Yeah.
And all the Addams women are playing like the tambourine in it.
It's so good.
It's so bizarre and wonderful.
But then back to plot, Tully realizes Fester is the older brother, so he gets everything.
Yep.
He kicks the Addamses out of their house, makes up a story about the twins, who went back to an insane asylum.
Yeah, he's like, she's like, Morticia's like, how can I compete? You're twice the woman I am. And then they're like, bye, we'll call you, as they're being put in a straitjacket.
It's little stuff like that is so good.
Because during the party when they put their plan into action, Tully goes next door to the judge. And he's like, I'm gonna make you an offer, So, and then gate is locked, so it's trying to let them back in.
I love that.
Yeah.
And it's like crying. So they kick the Addams out, and the judge, I do love when he's like, Fester gets everything except for these, and it's all awful.
But he's like, they say only a fool would have himself for a lawyer, and I am that fool.
Here's the thing. Raul Julia was so good.
And that's the thing, like, there's the Mystery Science Theater overdrawn at the memory bank.
Yeah, I love that. He's
and there's
good
like,
in that.
but he, this was the first time that I remember him in things, but this is the first time I'm like, he's having so much fun with this role.
He was a legit great actor.
Yeah.
And like, we're doing this shortly after Chadwick Boseman died, and it's like, he had so much more
to
he
give.
could have done.
Even like in a movie, like, I know people shit all over Street Fighter.
Oh, I said when we reviewed it, I'm like, he is giving the best performance while dying a horrible death.
Exactly, and in the second one too, like even Morticia, Angelica Huston goes, we knew he was at the end. He was having a hard time eating and keeping his strength
You can tell, we're going to review the second one, but he kind of gets sidelined at the end.
Yeah, but he pushed through, and like he was a guy that like when he was on screen, he had this craziness in his eyes that was so amazing, because it turns from something like being insanely in love with his wife to being insanely excited about his children to being, I'm gonna fight this guy with a sword. It just flipping all over the place, and I'm like, he was so good,
so good.
This may be one of the most perfectly cast movies that I've ever seen.
And I remember, I didn't know as a kid that he died.
Yeah.
I always thought it was weird they didn't do a third one.
Yeah.
When I found out years later, I'm like, oh, that guy died. I'm like, that's such a bummer. He was good in, he played, like, the Archbishop Romero. He was in some movie about, like, trees being cut down. I remember being good. Yep. He was a great actor.
Very good.
He was proud. Apparently, he was, like, the most proud of this role.
Because he said that, like, little kids would come up to him and, like, ask him if he was Gomez. And he was just like, all your life as an actor, that's what you want, is to be recognized by people.
Unless you're Alec Guinness. And then little kids are like, are you Obi-Wan?
He's
like,
no.
Get the fuck away from me.
And then, I'm not Spock. Like,
so this part of the story could have been its own movie. Where they have to go into the workforce.
That's the thing. I think my biggest complaint about this movie is the plot is not as important as the world that it exists in.
Yes.
And them getting locked out should have come at the midway point of the movie.
Yeah.
Because then you could have done more with them, like, outside of it, where it's just like, is he a shiftless layabout? Not like before.
But I love, like, Wednesday and Pugsley are doing a lemonade stand, and Lurch kills old Chief Woodenhead.
Yes.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, well, it's the famous scene. It's like, are they made from real Girl Scouts?
Which is Amanda from the second movie.
Yes,
same
exactly.
actress. I don't know if it's supposed to be the same character, but it could be.
Are you sure they're real lemons? Yes. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll buy a cup if you buy a box of my delicious Girl Scout cookies. Do we have a deal? Are they made from real Girl Scouts?
Morticia ends up being a teacher
of small children, and she's reading them Hansel and Gretel, but she's like, and then they push the poor defenseless witch in, and she was burned alive. How would that make you feel, children?
Yeah, she's then like telling him from the person who has the best job is Thing.
He works for FedEx.
I mean, he's crashing into people, but he's delivering everything on time. And I love the wagon they do.
Yeah. But that's like, because going back to like the Lurch thing too, there was the Tombstone sign. Is Tombstone Pizza still a thing?
I don't know. But I love the thing, like, what do you want on your tombstone?
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of
and he blows fire because of whatever they gave him. Now, he's like an undead ghoul. So what would that have done to like normal people? But the thing, or the thing walking scene with all the... And then the same thing with even when he flips the sword to him. There's all this quick, cool, comic booky editing.
Fast editing, which is also in the TV show.
Exactly.
So the only one who's not working is Gomez, because he's completely depressed.
Yes.
And he's watching Sally Jesse rap. Does anyone remember Sally? People remember Jerry Springer, Maury, maybe Ricky Lake. I don't think anyone remembers Sally.
I was a Sally fan when I would stay home from school. But yeah, so the whole thing is about how like witchcraft or like a cult took their son away, and then he keeps calling and he's like, Mr. Addams, we don't know where they meet, and he's like happy and then he gets sad as he's sitting there eating like Doritos and stuff like that. So Morticia's trying to keep the family together because they're Addamses and they can do anything. And then they're like, we'll go for a drive, and he's like, and Miss Gilligan, which is a great in-joke because Gilligan's Island was a huge hit, and it had the same time slot as Addams Family, and they canceled Addams Family because of Gilligan's Island. So I thought that would be a funny thing that he doesn't want to engage in his family because of this. So he's as bad as the people who got his show canceled.
Basically, Morticia, what is she? She goes to like talk to Fester.
She goes to talk to Fester. And then she's kidnapped by Tully's mother and Tully, and they put her on the rack. And
yeah, which is not even a problem.
No, because they apparently they just use it sexually all the time.
So they're trying to like
because when he's pulling the rack and she's like, "Oh, you've done this before."
So they're trying to get into the vault. Thing lets Gomez know, and he heroically jumps through the window.
Yeah, well, because the whole thing is he's trying to write it or sign it, and he's like, "I hate it when you stutter."
He comes in. Gordon Fester realizes, you know what? I think I like these guys more. Opens up the hurricane book.
Well, because Gomez is actually going to go and give them the money to save his wife, and he's like, no tricks. And he grabs the book, because the book that they need to get to the vault is Greed, but he grabs the other one, which is
like
about
hurricane
something.
Like it attacks him. Bruno bites Tully's butt.
And so the storm from the book turns the entire room into like a hurricane.
Like Poltergeist. It looks like that scene of Poltergeist
basically,
with the matte lines.
Where the Hulk is riding a horse.
They get thrown out. Wednesday and Pugsley kill them, I guess.
And well, no, they're like, are they dead? Doesn't matter. Because going back to the beginning, it's in line with that when he's like, what game are we going to play? Is there a god?
Their relationship was great. I think like Pugsley gets the least to do in these movies.
Yeah.
But like he's good as just being Wednesday's punching
Which
bag.
is funny because the one there's two inconsistencies. They love doing this stuff to each other, but when she fires the crossbow at him, he's struggling. Like he usually should just trust her, but then they do the same thing when Gordon,
she's tied
up and he's got like cyanide and something else, and Gordon's on the phone with his mother thinking that they're onto him, and he just looks at it and he points to the one to kill a child. Like
so during the fight, Fester gets electrocuted in the brain, and spoiler, it's very convoluted, but it kind of works in like a TV sitcom
but it didn't
way.
But apparently there was no ending. They were just going to accept this
guy
Fester as Fester and just go ahead with it. But then apparently like the actors got mad and they sent Christina Ricci to the producers to say like, oh, I think, and they can't say no to a child, so they added that. The ending is the only part, it just feels too rushed to me.
Yeah.
You know, so it's that whole thing. But then, so he gets electrocuted.
Yeah.
He remembers that he is actually Fester.
Yes.
They bury two people alive.
So Margaret is totally fine with Tully being gone. And she's apparently abandoned her son.
Yeah.
Who never
comes back again. They left him at the school dressed as an elf. I could just eat him alive.
Yeah.
Oh no, too young.
So now she's with Cousin It, and I love that. And they do the classic light bulb in the mouth.
But the line that made me laugh so hard that the dude who's doing QA in the office next to mine came to check on me was the Halloween scene, because there's the famous like, oh, I'm dressed as a serial killer because they look like everybody.
Yeah.
And Pugsley is dressed as Uncle Fester and he puts the light bulb in his mouth and it lights up. But Margaret and Cousin It show up, and Cousin It's just Cousin It, but he's wearing a cowboy hat, and she goes, people keep asking him where he got this costume, and Gomez, without missing a beat, goes, it is a wonderful hat. That line made me laugh so hard that someone came into my office to check on me.
It's a movie that's endlessly rewatchable.
Oh yeah, and you
can
pick up.
This is like a true family movie that you can grow up with.
Yeah.
There's jokes at every different level for every age group. When I'm like elderly, I can't wait to watch this again.
There's so many background gags too, like Grandmama going after the cat when they're at the apartment and stuff like that, and no one
Dinner's
mentions
gonna
it.
Be late.
Yeah, and then there's the thing like it is moving like a sarcophagus while Fester's trying to look in on the therapy session. There's just so many fun little background gags in the movie, you know. So yeah, this is just a movie I just genuinely like. I
highly recommend it.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, and watch the new one. The new one's cute.
It was okay, and I thought, like...
It's not great,
no,
but...
it starts with a Christina Aguilera song that I thought I was going to hate. Now I actually like that song. And the new one's actually really well cast. Charlize Theron, and...
Nick Kroll does the voice from the old TV show as Fester. Actually, I wouldn't... Chloe Grace is probably too old for Wednesday in a live-action version, but
Christina Ricci could play Morticia now.
Yeah,
you know?
Well, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
We're gonna come back and do Addams Family values at some point.
Yeah.
We're gonna come up with our idea for a third Addams Family.
If this cast was still a thing, and it would have to have been done in like the late.
Well, mine's gonna be a little different.
Okay.
But yeah, we want to think, how can you do a sequel to this?
My idea for the third one for this would be.
Well, don't say it now.
Oh, okay. Oh,
save it for Addams Family values.
Okay.
Do you not know how this works?
I don't know how it works.
We leave a little cliffhanger so people come back for the next one. God damn it. Anyway, thank you for watching.
Yeah.
Hey, I overheard you guys talking about Addams Family when I was shoplifting.
What now?
Yeah, you guys should talk about family values.
Oh, Addams Family values. Yeah.
No, this family values.
Oh.
Hi guys, I hope you liked this video. Sorry it's dark in here, my ring light broke. Just want to say thanks for watching this new show talking about tapes. It has a title now. And check out my podcast, Castzilla vs. the Pod Monster. I upload video versions here, but it's available on most platforms. Go to castzilla.com. I couldn't get Castzilla, so I did Casts with an S, Zilla.com, and that'll link you to all the episodes coming out every Friday. And yeah, look forward to more talking about tapes. We filmed like a batch of videos I have to edit, so yeah, bye.